So yeah, and I've seen like some of your information that you have posted in the different social media, right? And I noticed that you have another friend that is with you, trying to kind of just combine ideas there, right? So basically, one of the videos that you have is trying to kind of explain a little bit more the what is the actual form of your designs, right? So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So, for those who, I think the audience are quite new to this subject, so I will start with some of the basics. So there are two ways. So my projects are mostly focused on Mars. So there are two ways to have a habitat on Mars. One is you carry something from Earth to Mars, and another one is you build something from the local resources. That is called in situ resource utilization. So I am focused on how we can carry an habitat from Earth to Mars. And there are also two types of structure that you can carry. One is inflatable structures and another one is origami structures. Origami is very much new, and there is something that has been introduced. I might be the second or the third person on Earth to introduce this origami deployable habitat. So till now, there's a company called Bigelow who has been doing some inflatable structures, and inflatable structures are basically like fabric which are pressurized and it increases in the volume, and they're very lightweight. But there are a lot of disadvantages as well to inflatable structures, because if there is a puncture due to a space debris, then it's very hard to repair the puncture. So I came up with a concept of origami, deployable origami. Origami is I think you might be aware of this subject. It is a ancient Japanese art that is used to create. We also just do this origami in our early childhood when we make those boats and we make the birds out of origami. That paper folding. It is basically a paper folding technique. So, and there are a lot of different kinds of paper folding techniques. There are a lot of different kind of patterns. For example, there is a below folding, Yoshimura, Miura. So I chose one pattern, and I chose Crestling pattern because. So now, before I go into the Crestling pattern, I will tell you a little bit about why origami. Because when I create an habitat with the origami, I exactly know that how many panels, how much of material would I need? I exactly know that how many panels do I need, and also their connections are very easy because they are just mechanical joints it is also possible to build the mock-up model of origami habitat on the Earth, and it's easy to test. So I choose the Crestling pattern. So when I design something for the Mars habitat, an origami Mars habitat, I want to make sure that if something happens to the habitat, then it is easy to repair that. And also we need to have less hinges as possible, because so then it's easy for the astronauts to deploy the structure. So there are a lot of advantages. There are a lot of advantages of origami because it has a very efficient packing. Let's say, for example, if you fold the paper into 4 folds, this is a flat structure, right? And then when you deploy it, it becomes a bigger structure. So origami helps us to minimize the volume when it is in a folded state. It has a very deployable and a very consistent deploying stage. Like we know how exactly the structure will be deployed. In inflatables, you don't know how the structure will be maximized because it is through the air. So it has different areas of the fabric are being maximized. So it is a very risky situation there. And also origami has a long-term survivability because it is made from metals. It has very easy integration for windows, as you can also put the windows in one of the folds, and it is also possible to put the electronics and everything in it. And so that is why I chose origami structure. Now, on Mars, we want to make sure that where the astronauts perform most of their functions it is very safe from the solar radiation, right? So I built our origami with 3 floors. So there's a basement floor which is beneath the surface of the Martian soil, and that has bedrooms because astronauts will be sleeping as they're going to kind of perform the same function that we perform here. And I will also explain you how do we know that what astronauts will be doing on Mars. I will explain this on a later part. So in the basement, I designed bedrooms and I designed a toilet and shower. On the ground floor, you have EVA room, you have medical emergency room, then you have the greenhouse and hydroponic garden. And then on the first floor, you have the communication room, you have the engineering labs, and you have the bio labs. So that is some basic things that we need for an habitat. And also, so in the project that you saw along with my teammate, that was just a design concept. We are going to we are working right now to process our design, and we are going to build a mock-up model out of the cardboard and aluminum right here, like in the next few coming months. And Mars Society of Canada and also Mars Society of Canada is a part of Mars Society, and it has 2 research desert stations. One is in Utah and one is in Devon Island in Nunavut. So we're going to test our mock-up model of habitats at one of the desert stations, and a person of 2 crew will be staying inside the habitat, and they will be perform kind of very similar activities by doing an analog mission, which will help us to understand how efficient the habitat space requirement and how efficient the habitat is, because it will also help us to understand the psychological effects of 2 people staying in a very small space. And also it will help us to understand if the space that we have divided between different systems and different rooms is appropriate or not, and what modifications we need to do. So there are a lot of things. Space architecture is also being tested through analog missions. These 2 desert research stations in Utah and in Nunavut on Devon Island, they both perform crew missions every 2 months. I think every 2 to 3 months, where a crew of 5 to 6 people go and stay under a dome structure all together, and they perform extravehicular activities, and they perform the sleeping, eating, cooking, everything inside the dome. It is a kind of a space architecture. So yes, a lot of things can be understood by analog missions as well. So that is something that I am looking forward to do for our origami habitat.
Right. And I was noticing also that you share with me some links that obviously is going to be shared with along with this podcast as well in the description. It's about this space architecture, right? So I was getting to the website, and it was a lot of usable information, a lot of information about what they are doing and what they are expecting to do in the future as well. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes. So Mars Society of Canada is basically an organization, is a chapter from Mars Society. And we have formed this organization to support Canadian involvement in space programs, because Canada also plays a very big role with NASA. See, Canadian Space Agency plays a very big role with NASA, and a lot of Canadians don't have the different opportunities to participate or to have the knowledge or to receive the knowledge about Mars missions, because this is a very upcoming topic. So our organization mainly focuses only on the Mars exploration, and there are a lot of different ways that we are trying to give the knowledge to our fellow citizens, is through education, through our habitat designs, through our online quizzes, and because of COVID, we couldn't do much of the participation with the universities and with the schools. But hopefully this year, if COVID allows us, then we are going to engage with the universities and create different kinds of competitions. We are basically trying to support the Canadian Space Agency's missions to Mars indirectly. by imparting and by following the purpose of Mars settlement, human settlement on Mars. We strongly believe that Mars is a planet that can be settled, and I will explain you here why. Because Mars is the second most planet with very strong probability of finding the past life, as it has water. So Mars has water. So Mars is the temperature of the day temperature for Mars is 19 degrees Celsius, 17 to 19 degrees Celsius, and at night it gets to minus 90 degrees Celsius, which is very much higher than the freezing point. So the water on Mars is saved in a solid state. That's one thing. So we know that there is a water on Mars. Also, the NASA scientists discovered that there's an evidence of past microbial life when they collected the samples from Antarctica rock samples, and it has shown that there are organic molecules in it. Also, the oceans that are frozen as water as a permafrost has 4 gases, that is nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen, and which is very much capable to produce food, water, wood, plastics, and also the rocket fuel. And Mars has a very similar day to Earth. Mars has 24 hours and 37 minutes. So you have 37 minutes more to snooze your alarm. I can say that. And also it is the technologies that we have right now. We can reach the Mars because the Perseverance rover, the Curiosity rover there are so many NASA rovers which are already doing experiments on Mars since past 10, 15 years. And so there's also Mars is the only planet which can accommodate greenhouses because it has from the natural sunlight. So we are very much looking forward. Moon, you cannot be settled on Moon. So Moon missions are going to be like a stop to go to the Mars. The NASA has a future plan that they're gonna first create a base on the Moon, and from Moon they're gonna go to the Mars. That's how it is going to be. But Mars is going to be the ultimate goal of human settlement. And of course, these things are going to, of course, not tomorrow or in a year or 5 years. No one is gonna be on the Mars. But we are very much looking forward that at some point, maybe in 50 years, there will be someone on the Mars, and maybe in 150 years, there will be some colonization on the Mars. And the thing is, why not? If we humans are so capable to do everything we desire, even going to the Moon, when people were planning to go to the Moon, people must be like, oh, how are we going to be on the Moon? But you see, there has been 12 astronauts who have been already on the Moon, and now we are again going back on 2024. So it is all our human intelligence. And why we should not make the most of our human capabilities and our own intelligence and to test our own capabilities. So this is one of the small effort that we're trying to make. We are trying to make that we are trying to impart the knowledge to our fellow Canadian citizens. We are trying to give them opportunities to participate in this kind of research programs with us, and help our Canadian Space Agency and our schools and universities to develop such programs that help us to understand our next planet, that is Mars, for human settlement.
Right. And and lately we have noticed, like, for example, Elon Musk, right, that is trying to kind of just create newer programs, trying to kind of find solutions to certain ways to how this can be possible, right? So I understand that, those programs are pretty, is everywhere right now, right? Trying to kind of just find this type of methods in order to kind of just make it work. And I think like the majority of these programs have been supported by him, right? Can you explain something that you have found, like what is really nice about him working forward to that?
Yes. So the thing with him is he never gives up. He's a kind of a person. Yes, he never gives up. He has at some point of his time, he had to choose between Tesla to save Tesla or SpaceX because he didn't have enough money to support both, because he had 2 or 3, I think, failed rocket launches, and he was about to go bankrupt. But at that time, he divided his money between SpaceX and Tesla, and he saved both of his companies, and now he's here. So I'm very inspired from him because he never gives up, and he literally believes in himself that he can help the earth. You know, the thing that I will tell you one thing, my core belief system is like, when you're doing something for the people of the world, when you're trying to do something better for the world, you will always have the support from here or there, either from the universe, or you will always get those resources somehow, because you are trying to make a better change. And I think Elon Musk is being supported a lot, because now you see he's the billionaire, most richest person right now on the earth. So yeah, he has a lot of funds now to support more missions to Mars. Recently he's going to test this SLS spaceship that is gonna go to the Mars, because it is 4 times bigger than normal space shuttles, and it has a capability to reach Mars, as it will have enough space to carry a crew of 4 to 6 astronauts, and also it has enough space and capability for the astronauts to survive for 7 months, and also on the Mars, as it is a huge spaceship. And also it is very much capable to take off with such amount of weight. So that is something that he has been designing. It has been under working process for quite a time. Now it's going to be launched this year. He's going to test it. It's called SLS Spaceships to Mars. It's huge. It's all metal. And maybe if you have a chance to look at the picture, you will be really amazed to see that. You know, the sound that space shuttle makes while launching, the gas when the propellant rocket fuel comes down and the propellant comes down, that's just so exciting when you have this, when they start counting 10, 9, 8, and then you create, and the moment the space shuttle take off, you make that history, you create that history. So you leave something, you leave your footprint, and you inspire generations to follow.
How do you like it so far? Thank you for being with us. If you want to know about the following part, just keep in touch and follow us for the next part of this episode.
And please don't forget to leave me a review on whichever platform that you're using to listen in this podcast. Either good or bad. Remember, Mexican have thicker skin. You won't hurt my feelings, that's for sure. And better yet, if it has some good criticism, so I can learn from it and improve it, that will be even greater. I understand this hasn't been perfect, but it can be better every time. I recognize your time is valuable, and would like you to enjoy this moment with me as well. Also, if you like what you get from this audio, I will recommend you to be the first to share this info with your friends, so maybe they can get something valuable from it as well. Thanks for listening, and let's meet again soon.